Hello everybody, Hayley here. I hope you're all okay. So for today's video, I'm going to show you this beautiful butterfly cascade waterfall card. And isn't that pretty? I think this one's lovely. I've chose this one because it's slightly different from the traditional waterfall card. Normally it might be maybe a square or a rectangle and it might have pictures, so I just thought I wanted to choose something different. And I chose butterflies because I thought most of us crafters do have a butterfly stamp and die set in our stash, so you can use whatever you want to use. So for example, if you have a flower stamp and die set, you could use it with that. Whatever kind of shape, solid shape you want, you can use. So again, I'm just gonna flip that for you. That's really cute. And then just inside I've just stamped a sentiment. So I'm going to jump into the video now and I'm going to show you how to make this card. Okay, so the first thing that I've done is I've just taken a 5x7 side fold card. This is a pre-made store-bought card, but you could easily make this yourself from a piece of 10 by 7 inch cardstock, and then just score at 5 inch and fold it over, and that's your 5x7 card base. The next thing that I've done is I've just cut out a mat for the back there, a piece of pattern paper, and that's just from the birthday celebrations from Crafter's Companion. This is a beautiful pack, and this is a pearlized card as well. It's really pretty, really nice one. So I've cut that out, and I've cut these two. This mat layer is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then the paper layer is 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and I'm going to stick those two onto the base card like so. The next thing I've done is I've just taken a panel from one of my die sets here, which is Chloe's Creative Cards Piet and Scalloped rectangles, and I've just taken one of the dies here and cut this piece out of white card, and that is going to go, I'm going to frame that in the centre, and that's the panel where my waterfall mechanism is going to sit. So I'm going to get these glued down and then we'll move on to making the mechanism. Right, so I've got that all glued down now, and all I've done is I've stuck the matten layer to the background just using wet glue, so this is flat, and then this centrepiece here I've just raised up on a little bit of foam tape. Now I will link all the products that I'm using in the description box for you. If anybody was interested and wanted to have a look at those, it'll be all there for you. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this sentiment, and this piece of card is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I'm going to use this for my insert inside. Now the stamp that I've used is the Happy Birthday sentiments from Chloe's Creative Cards, and I've just stamped that sentiment there saying, wishing you the most wonderful birthday that's filled with all your favourite things. So I'm going to get that glued down. Again, I'm just using wet glue for this. This particular one is the Colour All Purpose glue. I want the inside structure to be quite solid, because the waterfall mechanism can become quite heavy with it being lots of layers of cardstock. So I just want to make sure that the back of the card is supported for that weight. Okay, so like that. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to show you how to create the mechanism. Now what I've done, if I just move this card to one side, I've already created my mechanism here. And what I've done, just to make it really easy for everybody, I think, I've created a little template. It took me a while to make this because it wasn't just a straightforward shape. Like I say, it's a butterfly shape. So when you're just doing a straight edge like a square or a rectangle, the template's easier, but with this I had to fiddle and adjust it a little bit. So like I say, what I've done is I've created a template. Now if you want to take a screenshot of this to look back on, if you want to create this card, you're more than welcome to do that. I am going to run through everything with you and create the template for the mechanism itself. Then this, in case people would like to see that, this is the instructions to create the template. So I'll leave that there just for a second, just so you can take a screenshot if you prefer to. But like I say, I'm going to run through it all with you anyway. And this is just, these hash lines here is just where you're going to cut. Okay. Right, so those are the templates, but I'm going to work through all the measurements with you now. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Now I've cut a piece of cardstock to 6 by 9 3/4 inches. And along the 6-inch side, we are going to score at 1 1/4, 1 3/8, 4 5/8, and 4 3/4. And then we're going to rotate this piece of cardstock to the left. Now along the 9 3/4 side, we are going to score at 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 3 3/4, and 4 1/4. And then also I'm going to score at 1 1/8, just to that second little score line there that we created, like so. We're not going all the way through, we're just going to that second score line. And then just to make this easier, I'm going to flip it over and repeat the same thing. I'm going to score at 1 1/8, just down to that second score line. Now these are going to become cut lines anyway, so it doesn't really matter what way the score line is, but if you want, you can just go back over that. Okay, and then we are going to turn this again to the left. So we started working at this top end, now we're coming to the bottom. Okay, and then the next score line we want to create is at 2 1/8, and we're going to pull that all the way up to where this last score line runs across this middle here. So 2 1/8 right up to that score line, and then 3 5/8 again all the way up to that score line, like so. Now I do appreciate this is on white card, so I don't know if you can visibly make out those score lines, but if I bring this in, once we've got everything scored, this is what it should look like. The red lines are where we've scored. Okay, so the next step is to cut away all these pieces where it's got the hash lines. Now because again, the thing that I've done here, because it's a butterfly shape, I have taken my actual die cut that I'm going to use, and this is one of the die cuts, and I'm going to just place this in the center of that panel, just making sure it's even, and I'm going to draw around it. Now this first score line here is where we're going to cut away. I'm just going to roughly sketch a line in there. We're eventually going to cut this, and this is where this top score line is, and then I'm going to trace around my die cut. And you, like I say, you can do this with any shape that you're using. So for example, if you're using a flower, put your flower die cut, your actual pieces that you want to flip, put it down so you can then shape the bottom or the top of the mechanism there. It's optional. You don't have to do this at all. It's just an option. Okay, so when I remove that, and if I just bring this back in, this is where we are now going to cut. Okay, so I'm just going to move this scoreboard out of the way. Okay, so following this template that I have here, and I'm going to get my long scissors, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to start from the bottom, not where this where we've just drawn around that template. I'm going to start from the bottom. So from the third score line in, so we've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to cut right up to this score line that runs, the last one that runs all the way across the top, and I'm going to cut straight up. And just bear with me because I want to get this straight. And you do want these to be cut as neatly as possible, because they will be visible on your mechanism, and if they're a little bit wonky, there's a chance that your mechanism won't work correctly. So just make this as neat as you possibly can. Okay, so that's what we've got at the moment. I'm just going to rotate this now, and we're going to remove this whole rectangle, and we're going to remove it from this 1, 2, the second score line down, and I'm just going to cut all the way across there and just meet it up to this middle piece here, and then again flip it right over, and again from this second score line down we're going to cut right up to where it meets at that edge there, like so. Okay, so this is what we're looking like so far. And I'm just going to get my smaller scissors now because I'm going to fussy cut out around this shape. So the next thing we're going to do is we turn it on its side. These two panels here are going to become your tabs that wrap around the back. These two top squares and this space in between where you've cut, where you've drawn your shape, we're going to cut away. So I'm going to start by cutting down this line here, and following the shape. Now you can neaten this up after, don't worry about that. So when you get to this edge here, you're just going to cut up to that score line there, and then come down, and then we're just going to remove this top square here. Just neaten that up a little bit. Like so. Okay, so this is now the template that we are left with. So if I just place that down there, that's exactly what we should be looking like. Excuse me a moment, I'm just going to take a drink because I've got a really dry throat. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to remove this now, and the next thing that we're going to do, we're just going to fold this mechanism. So you will see that you have this 1/8 of an inch score line here. So we're going to fold over both of those score lines like so. And there's a reason why I've done it like this, and I'll explain it in a minute when we get to that part. So we're just going to burnish those score lines like so. So you should have this little 1/8 of an inch gap there. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. They're both mountain folds. I'm just going to burnish that one. And the same with that one. And there we are. So we've got these two little tabs here. Okay, so I just open that back out, the next thing, all these score lines here that are left are all going to become mountain folds. And you do really want to burnish these down because that will help the mechanism flip properly. Okay, like so. So essentially what's going to happen now, these two tabs are going to wrap to the back. On here, we will place this onto our panel. We will only put glue on these tabs here. The rest of this stays completely adhesive free. Okay, our butterflies are all going to be stacked up, and then obviously this isn't stuck down at the moment, but when we pull this tab here, that is going to make our flip like so. Okay, so I just like to, so this is the way that it's going to be, and this tab is going to tuck behind here and these wrap over and stick to the card. So this bottom bit here, this is going to be your pull lever. So I like to, I've just got this is a Crafter's Companion tag punch, and I'm just going to pop this in here and try to get it as even as I can. Punch that down, and that gives me that tag shape at the top there, like so. And it's just a nice little finishing touch. It's not necessary at all. If you have maybe a corner rounder, for example, you could just round the corners. You could take one of your circle dies and just cut off the edge. However you want to do it is absolutely fine. You could cut it into an arrow, whatever you want to do. The last thing that I've done here is I just have a stamp with the word pull here, and I've stamped and heat embossed the word pull there, so it makes it really obvious for the recipient then to know what it is they're supposed to be doing with the card. So like I say, I have actually already made my mechanism in a piece of coloured card, so I'll just bring that back. Okay, so this is the piece that I've already created out of my coloured cardstock. It's exactly the same. That's where I've just heat embossed the pull sentiment there. This is going to wrap behind, stick to the card, and this is going to flip up and down. So for the decoration then, I'm just going to bring in the stamp set that I have used, which is the Crafter's Companion Butterfly Kisses. It's a stamp and die set. I've used this butterfly and the die to match to cut out my shapes. But this is a very old stamp. This is, I'd probably say it was about 5 years old now, maybe even a little bit longer. So dig into your stash, see what you have. Like I say, I'm pretty sure that a lot of crafters do have a stamp and die set that would be perfect for this. Whether it's a butterfly, a flower, a shape, whatever you want. So what I've done is I've just taken some cardstock and I've just chosen some really pretty pastel springtime colours. I've got like a pinky peach, a lemony yellow, a lovely green, a blue and a purple. Now I have already stamped and die cut the majority of my butterflies, but I'm just going to do one with you. I've heat embossed mine. Now if you are using a butterfly stamp, this is a very pastel type card. I thought it'd be really nice for Easter or spring. So I've used a really soft colour palette, but if you prefer, you could do a really bright rainbow colour of butterflies, or you could make them really look realistic. However you want to design this, that, you know, you go for it. You do whatever you would prefer on your design. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp and heat emboss one of these butterflies with you. So I'm just going to bring in my stamping platform here, and I have a piece of the lilac-y purple cardstock, and again I will link everything for you below. Any products that are obviously now not available, like maybe this stamp from Crafter's Companion, I'm not sure that's going to be available now, it's an old one, but anything else like the cardstock, the glue and everything like that, I will link for you. Okay, so I'm just going to pick that up with my stamp platform, and I'm going to use the Wow Embossing ink pad. Get that inked up like so, and stamp that down. Okay, just remove those magnets and move this out of the way, and I've just got some silver embossing powder, and I'm going to sprinkle the embossing powder over the image like so, and then I'm going to take my heat tool. I think it's a really pretty stamp and die set anyway, and then with the heat embossing it just gives it that little bit of elegance, which that's what I was really going for with this colour scheme and the cascade of butterflies. So I'm just going to put my powder back into the pot before I spill it everywhere, and pop that to one side. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to die cut this butterfly out now. So I'll get that cut out. Okay, so I have that heat embossed now and die cut out, and I have all my other butterflies in the different pastel colours. Okay, so we're going to bring the mechanism back in now, and we're going to build these butterflies. So I want to start with the purple one, which is going to line up at the bottom there like so. Okay, and I'm going to just bring in some glue, and I'm going to put glue all over this butterfly, and you don't want it to catch, so make sure you do get right to the edges, because you don't want those edges to lift and it get caught when it flips through at the back. So I've just got lots of glue on there, and then I'm going to stick this down here, and I am going to give this just a minute to sort of really grab and stick. Give that a good press down. Okay, like so. Now we've got all these little sections here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blue one next, and what you're looking for is I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue here, here and here like so, and I'm going to centre this. I don't want the edge of these wings to go over this score line, but I also want this to be lined up with the butterfly underneath. Okay, so again, really put some pressure on there and leave the mechanism, leave the glue to dry and set before you start to try and flip it or anything like that, otherwise it might just come undone. So I've gone purple, blue, I'm going to go for the green colour, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue there in the middle and there. It just needs to attach, it doesn't need a lot of glue. I'm going to line it up with the butterfly underneath. I'm making sure that the wings at the top stay inside the line of the score line there, and I'm going to hold that in place for a second. Really let that glue grab, and then I'm going to take the yellow butterfly, and I'm just going to repeat this until we get to the top. Okay, like so. Now leave this to dry. Don't try and move it until it's properly dried. Okay, so I'm going to give this a minute and come back. Okay, so whilst I'm leaving that to dry, I'm just going to pop it to one side for a second. I have just taken a sentiment from the same stamp set, and this just says special friend, and I've heat embossed that again in silver. So I'm just going to cut this out so I've got it ready to pop onto my card, and I'm going to bring this tiny little trimmer in. It's really cute. Okay, I'm just going to box this sentiment off. I'm not die cutting it or anything like that. I'm just going to cut it out around the sentiment there. Like so. Okay, so now we have this little sentiment saying special friend ready to pop on to our card. Okay, so this should be dry now, and you should be able to move this without it interfering with anything. Okay, right, so this pull tab we are going to fold behind, okay, like so, and this is where I've just stamped at the bottom, and then these two tabs we're going to tuck behind also. So this is what it should look like from the back. Now the only thing that I had noticed with this being two flaps, sometimes it can get caught and stuck on the edge. So what I've done, and this again it's optional, it's totally up to you whether you want to do this or not, but I'm going to. I've just cut this in the same cardstock, a piece of card that is 1 inch by 3 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to attach this here at the back, so that gives us, from the inside it's completely smooth, there's no ridges, there's no like break, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to get this attached. So from this first score line here, I'm going to pop some glue all along that tab there, and add this piece here like so. Okay, and then again on the other side, from this first score line here, just add some glue on there, bring this over, and then that. Nobody's going to see this, so don't worry about the workings of it or anything like that, but you also want to make sure that this is completely flush. I don't know if you can see that, but can you see where the glue is just not quite caught there? This needs to be completely flush so it does not catch when the mechanism flips. Okay, so I'm going to just add a little bit of pressure, make sure all that glue is smoothed out and it's got plenty of space and room there. And I'm just going to leave this to really set. Okay, but this now, if I just give it a quick flip, this is our mechanism. Now mine is catching slightly, but obviously it's not stuck down on the card, so it's right. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Once we get it stuck down on the card and we know that this is all in place and it's all dried, this should be absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the card back in now. Okay, so this is the base card, and we are going to, on this tab only, add some glue. Okay, then centre this into your panel wherever you would like it to go. Just make sure you've got an even spacing. Okay, and I'm just going to get a bone folder and just really sort of put some pressure on that part underneath to get it to adhere. And again, I'm going to just leave this, let it stick, let it do its thing, and then we will be able to it's looking great already. We just need to let that stick. Okay, so the only other thing that I've done is I've taken this stamp and I'm going to, now normally if it was a card I would have popped this up on some foam, but obviously because you need this mechanism to be quite flat to be able to fit through this little 1/8 inch gap here, I'm going to stick this flat, not put no foam on it at all. You don't have to do this. So again, traditionally, a waterfall card, you might have photos or a stamped sentiment or an image or something like that. And once it flips up, you might have a hidden message on the opposite side. You can do this however you would want to decorate it. This was just something that I wanted to create for, like I say, like a really spring Easter type theme. I'm going to leave that a second to just set as well. Okay. And the final thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in some of my silver gems here. And I'm just going to scatter a few of the gems throughout the card just to bring that silver shine in. Might do 1, 2, 3 there, and maybe 1 there and 1 there. So I've got 5 all together. I'm just going to pop a couple of these gems into this little tray. Like so. Grab my pick up tool. I'm going to take one of the larger ones and pop it at the bottom. A medium size one there. Maybe another medium one there, a larger one, and then a small one at the top there, like so. Okay. So I've left that to just dry a little bit. Everything's should be all stuck down now. And if we pull this tab, that butterfly mechanism just flips. Isn't that fun? I love this. I love this style of card. It's something that you don't really expect. This folds flat. There's a tiny little bit of dimension because I've stuck some foam on for this piece here. But you don't have to do that. You could stick this totally flat and that will go into an envelope. No problem at all. And this overall card size is 5 by 7. So yeah, one more time. I love that. Okay, and then we do have the stamped message inside as well there. So yeah, this is a really lovely one. Let me know if you give this one a try, because it is very nice, and I'd love to be able to see variations of this too. So if anybody uses a different stamp and die set or a different shape, I'd love to be able to see everybody else's creations. Maybe a really bright colourful one that'd look lovely too. Okay, so that's the video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. If you did like this video, please consider subscribing. It really does help my channel out. I'm just trying to grow it at the moment. Also, pop me a thumbs up, a like on my video if you enjoyed this one, and drop me a comment as well. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. If you get stuck with anything, I'm more than happy to help. I will put all the links for the products that I've got and are available in the description box below. And until next time, thank you for watching. Bye bye.